What's up, Nick? I'll hop on, Mr. Nick.
How's it going, Tariq? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Nick. How's everything going with
Oh,
you?
it's going. It's going. It's a little late. Where are you at? How is it? Isn't it?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
in
you're in
LA.
LA. All right. So you're only a couple
Yeah.
hours ahead of me.
Yeah. Now, you still working with Tucker?
Uh, I mean, not officially. I mean, like I do shows all the time. Just different networks and whatever. I never
Oh,
worked for
oh,
Tucker. No.
okay. I thought you worked with his what was his publication? What was his online publication? His blogs, the
Oh no,
Daily.
I
What
never
was
did.
it?
I never did. Like
Okay,
I've
got it.
only been doing
Okay.
this shit for about a year. But
Oh, okay. All right. So what's on your
well,
mind,
that's on
bro?
my mind. I'm just kind of wondering, man. Trying to learn a little bit about. I've heard of you before. Um, I'm curious as to what do you do? What is what is your backstory, if you don't mind me asking?
Now, you guys, man, I done been on Tucker's show and Fox a gazillion times. Y'all know what I do. I'm the white supremacist slayer. That's what I do.
Okay. Well, that kind of brings up a question here, though. It, have you I'm going to say this with all due respect, but have you built a
Right.
career uh, around that? I guess we'll say you're saying that. I mean, what is a white supremacist in your mind? If I talk about issues in the black community and black on black crime and stuff, does that make me a white supremacist?
It makes you suspected of being a white supremacist because that's usually a deflection, that whole black on black crime, because black on black crime is there's no such thing. Crime is crime. Crime is proximity phenomenon. So everybody within their proximity commits crime. Using black on black crime is a white supremacist deflection to justify them practicing anti-black racism.
Okay, but where's the
So it would be safe to expect that you would be a white supremacist if you use the term black on black crime. So go ahead.
okay, but is there not an issue don't you think that there's maybe something that needs to be addressed when you look at the crime stats? I mean, white on black crime is doesn't seem to be a very huge issue, right? So where is the issue there? Why are the stats, when it comes to black on black crime, what is causing that? Why is that number so high for the I believe the African American population is 13% of the United States.
Hmm.
So what's that about? That's what I mean. Where is the disconnect?
Oh, that's a
It,
deflection. No criminal organization is more high rated than the white supremacists. The white supremacists are the biggest crime syndicate in recorded history. So you're not at liberty to say black on black crime is a problem when white supremacist criminality is a global issue, especially here in the United States. No one kills more people than white supremacists in recorded history. No one steals more than white supremacists in recorded history, sir. So talking about some black folks in Chicago on a 4 or 5 city block when you guys murder and commit genocides of whole nations of people, that's a bad faith argument.
when? What we're
The
talking
problem
about
with
right
white
now?
supremacy, yes, right now. White supremacy is right now. The genocides of white supremacists is right now. The criminality of white supremacists is right now. It's so normalized, you don't even look at it as something that's normalized right now. You don't look at it as something that's happening right now. White supremacist criminality happens right now.
In what way, though? I mean, that seems like it
All
seems like
areas
you're
of its
projecting here.
how
Well,
so?
you're telling me that there's no issue in the black communities when it comes to crime.
Our issue is white supremacy.
Say again.
Everything negative in black society comes from your community without any
What?
exception. You tell me everything. You tell me something negative in black society that was not orchestrated by your community. Name it.
Okay, so black on black crime is orchestrated by white supremacists. Oh
Yes.
wow. Is this space recorded?
Yes. Yes,
Oh,
it
thank
is.
God. All right. So okay. So please
Your
explain that one
community,
to me.
your, Your community promotes criminality within black society.
Okay, are you
Your
going to give me an
community promotes
argument for that, or are you just going to say that and then leave it?
shit. What part don't they control? Your community controls the drugs, the guns, the economic deprivation, and in black society, only a very small fraction of black society engages in criminality. All of us don't even engage in criminality.
Nobody
But
said.
the ones who do, it's orchestrated by the white supremacists. It's orchestrated by your community.
Okay, so the white community is causing gang warfare in South Side Chicago,
Yeah.
in
Yes.
Philadelphia, and all of those. It's all due to white. What is the benefit? Why would we
This
want that?
gang warfare, there's no gang warfare. There's no gang warfare. Street shit going on a couple of city blocks. It's no gang warfare. Gang warfare is when the white supremacists, your brethren, go into countries and wipe out whole people. That's warfare. The warfare is when your community, the white community, ship in all of the crack and the meth and the fentanyl and then sit it down in those so-called black communities that they created. See, that's the criminality that your community orchestrates. They bring all of the criminal elements in order for us to get caught up in. That's your community who
Okay,
does
at
that.
what
When
point does it
black people,
become the responsibility of the black community, though?
because when we try to take responsibility and create our own communities without your meddling, you guys sabotage it. We can't create our own crime-free communities without the white supremacist brethren of yours coming in and sabotaging everything we do. When we create a Black Wall Street, your community comes in and blows it up. We created black communities in Wilmington that were prosperous. Your community came in and destroyed it. We created prosperous communities out here in Los Angeles. Your community came in and did um, freeways and railroads to specifically sabotage our areas. When we built neighborhoods like Bruce's Beach, your community came in and took the land and said eminent domain. When we had communities in New York like Central Park, which was Seneca Village, your community came in and said, eminent domain, we're going to take it. You black folks will find you somewhere else to go. Your community is the problem. We can't get anything going without being sabotaged by your community over and over. So we have to deal with the white supremacy directly and say we have to focus on you so we can produce justice first. You understand? Does that
Okay,
make
so
sense?
everything you just said happened decades ago, a half century ago,
Oh,
a century
oh my
ago,
God.
and now what?
No,
How
it no.
long can
When
the
did it
victim
stop? No,
complex?
because it happened. No, no, it happens now. It didn't just happen decades ago, sir. To this very day, they never stopped doing that. When we get black businesses now that are successful, your community does things to sabotage it all the time.
What is the
I have a successful
incentive, though? Why would me as a
to
white man have any incentive to destroy your business just because?
serve to maintain white supremacy.
To maintain
That's
white
literally it.
supremacy. Okay, so at what point, at what like what is your what are you doing to fix this problem? Because I feel like telling everybody in the black
Okay,
community that they're a victim and that the white man is holding them down and they can never possibly do anything for themselves. Don't and you've even just said up here that the black community and the South Side Chicago can't stop killing each other because white people are making them do it.
because your community orchestrates that stuff, sir. And a lot of those killings are done by the white supremacists and it gets blamed on black people. Your community floods those neighborhoods with guns. Every other year, there's a train full of guns that just happens to creep up in Chicago or South Central LA. Your community orchestrates that stuff, sir. When we try to clean up the neighborhood, activists and people who try to say, hey, let's not kill each other. Your community, the white supremacists, they assassinate people. When you have people like Fred
Is there
Hampton in
evidence of
Chicago,
anything that
wait,
you're?
no, listen. When you had a Fred Hampton in Chicago, a young black man trying to clean up the community, trying to feed the community, trying to have a free lunch program, your community went in and shot the man in his sleep, sir. Don't sit here and talk about what we don't have, and your community has been terrorizing us nonstop. That's our problem. You're the problem.
Yes, I did
Being
it.
a
I
suspected white
personally did it.
supremacist.
I
Well, you're being a part of the suspected white supremacist community, sir. You're the problem.
Okay, so at what point are you considered a racist?
Sir, how can I, as a victim of white supremacy, be a racist
Okay,
to
well, you're
anybody?
discriminating against me because I'm a white man. I mean, if I changed my profile picture to a
Discriminating, what did I deprive you of? What did I deprive you of or kept you from doing? What have I
I mean, you're
deprived you of?
accusing me of murdering black people at this point. So I mean, like, come on.
Oh, now you're practicing full white supremacy because you're doing I'm white and I say so. That's another part of white supremacy. Just I'm white and I say so.
What?
He had a gun, so I had to kill him. And I'm white and I say so. See, that's
Where?
where
When did
the
I say
problem with
that?
white supremacy
I
comes.
didn't.
You're doing you're making up stuff, sir. You're saying stuff I've never said, which is the white supremacy.
Okay, we.
That's another part of white
Yeah, well, you
supremacy,
keep
sir.
saying you did this, you did this, you did this. You know.
Your community, because you sitting up being in denial about it, that helps to maintain the system of white supremacy, sir.
Okay, so if I say something like, okay, white people can't live in the south side of Chicago at this point because, the violence rate among blacks there is so freaking high that we can't possibly be safe. Is that racist?
Which is a lie. White people are not unsafe around black people. That's a lie.
Oh, well, no, I
White
just lumped
people
them all into the
are
same category, just like you did me.
white people are not unsafe.
You just lumped me into
And
the
the whole thing
category.
and the whole thing about Chicago, okay, if there's a problem, why are you not putting resources in Chicago? Chicago is just used to justify punishing black people globally. You're not trying to help Chicago. That's a bad faith argument. What about black on black crime? That's just a deflection to deflect away from white
Okay,
supremacy.
so we shouldn't do anything about black on black crime. We should just let them. I mean, you don't even need white people to
So why
take
do you
out
think?
black
So
people
why
at
do you?
this point. They're going to
Okay, so
exterminate
okay, so
themselves.
if there's all of this crime, why? And it's black, and it's because black people are black. What is it about black people that makes us do all this crime?
I don't know, gang warfare. I mean, that's all I can think of. I mean, maybe
What?
we should
What?
start with
No,
having
no,
fathers in the house.
no, no,
How
no,
about
no,
we
no,
start with
no,
that?
no, no. Because you're a high IQ. You come from the high IQ community because you guys have much higher IQs from what you said. If we're so criminalized, what is it about us? What's your conjecture? What why do you think we commit so much crime and so criminal prone? Why do you think we are?
Well, I'm not lumping you into the category like you're lumping me into a separate category. I don't know anything about your background. I don't know your family. I don't know how you were raised. But what I will say
I'm
is
talking about black people.
there is
Who
a
was it?
real problem with the lack of father figures in the black
Oh,
community. Do you not see that as an issue? Do you not see
no.
you don't think that there should be a full family unit?
There is a full family unit. We have families in the black community. That whole there's no father stuff, and that's the problem. Why are there no fathers?
Great question. I mean, maybe you can tell me that.
You just said it. So why do you think there are no fathers in the black community like that?
I mean, you seem to. I mean, if you know more about it than I do, maybe you can explain it to me. I've never been a part of it.
You brought it up though. You brought it up. You brought up something that you couldn't
Uh, I
explain.
I don't need to explain it. I just gave you the stats, bud.
You just did. If you say
O-
something, you should be able to elaborate on it. I asked you what the problem was, and you said the lack of fathers. So
Okay,
you
okay.
need
So
to
what you're telling
elaborate.
me is
Why
that
is there a lack of
so what?
fathers? Why is there a lack of fathers in the black
I mean,
community?
I don't know. Maybe you can tell me, but there are. I mean, statistically speaking, there are very there's a very low percentage, relatively speaking, of fathers in black homes in places like Philadelphia, Southside Chicago, uh, Compton, areas like that. I mean, nobody is going to argue that fact. You know that as well, but you
The
don't seem to want to
CDC,
talk about
the
that,
C,
and I feel like that's a
the
problem
C,
in and of
well, the
itself.
CDC Well, the CDC said that black fathers are proportionately more active in the lives of their children than other groups. That's what the CDC said. So this whole thing about there are no black fathers, that's a white supremacist lie. There are black people who are unmarried. That doesn't mean that black fathers are not involved. You come from the white supremacist community where they have to deflect onto us and
Okay,
make
so
it
I'm a
seem like,
white
well, we
supremacist
are
now. So
causing
you have now deemed me a white
a
supremacist.
suspected. No, a suspected white supremacist. I'm not saying you are. It's just that someone would suspect that you are. I'm not saying you are. But a lot of people who have your views are suspected of being white supremacists. But the black fathers are there. And during the Jim Crow era, when black families were fully intact, when the black man was in the home, we were still dealing with the same form of white supremacist terrorism. So it ain't fatherhood. It's just the white supremacists that's the problem, right?
I mean, see, this is the thing that I don't understand. There's never so there's. Are you saying that there's nothing that can possibly be improved in the areas that I keep mentioning uh, without, what are your what?
Why does your
That's my
community,
point. Like,
okay,
at what
listen,
point do you start taking responsibility for these things? At what point?
what point do you take responsibility for sabotaging all of black progress?
I don't believe that especially my generation. It's in the newer generation of yes. Look, America has a tainted past in terms of a half century ago or more, where
Y'all love pushing stuff way back
well,
somewhere.
I don't know
Go,
how long's it been since Jim Crow went away.
sir. Okay, now let's go. Oh, let's just play this whole "it happened a half a century ago." When was it rectified? Because the damage that y'all did, according to you, and you just admitted a half century ago, but I'm saying it's still being done now. But even a half century ago, it was never fixed, it was never rectified, and the societal damage was still there, and the damage gets passed down. So how come your community never rectified all of that vile, heinous shit that they did to us in the Jim Crow era that you admitted
Okay,
to?
okay. So are you now suggesting that I should be paying you? Is that where we're gonna go with this?
Yeah, like you paid everybody else.
Okay, so so
That's where the
you want
reparations come in.
reparations from me. You want me to
That's where the reparations, because you admitted that your community
I
did
didn't do
damage to
shit to
us.
you.
Back,
And I mean,
your
how old are you? Were
community,
you alive back then? You don't look that
your
old.
community Your community did it, and you pay everybody else.
Yeah, I didn't do shit to you. Nor nor
Uh,
nor
the,
did
the,
nor did my
you are part of
parents. My parents didn't do
you are part of the U.S. government. Now, your parents, when did they immigrate here from Italy? In what 1920? When did they immigrate here?
my parents.
Or your grandparents? When did they immigrate here from Italy?
They didn't. They didn't immigrate from anywhere. They're born in the United States. My great grandparents were
So,
born in the United States. I don't really know where you're going with this, but
okay,
at some point,
who
this
came?
this
No,
is
no,
what
wait,
I'm
wait, no, wait,
saying.
stop, slow down. Which family came from? Who came through Ellis Island and from where? What year did they go to Ellis Island?
I'm not really sure why that's relevant to this conversation. I can go way
Okay,
back to
why?
my family tree generations ago.
That's not a trick question.
Okay,
And why are you ashamed of your background?
okay, yeah, I don't even know. I don't know which generation actually even came here. I know where they came from, but you know,
They came from Italy. They
they
came from Italy.
they did not come from Italy. I can guarantee you that. But anyway, so this is what I want to circle back to here. Like,
Why are you ashamed of your European background?
I'm not even remotely ashamed of my European background
Because now you got real squiddish when we start talking about your European background. That's interesting.
because I don't know what
Why do y'all get
generation
y'all,
my
but
family
why,
actually appeared here.
yeah, what's this thing you
Great
guys
great
always
great
point the finger-
grandparents came
you
from
got
Europe.
that's my point. You guys, suspected white supremacists, you like to point the finger talking about black on black crime, but you're very ashamed of your European background. You're extremely
How?
ashamed of it.
And even if I was, what is the
Listen to
point
you.
behind that? What is that?
It wasn't it wasn't a trick
It
question.
doesn't
We're
matter.
talking about the point was we're talking about what was owed, and you're talking about you weren't here. and we were putting that into the context of who's here and who wasn't here. Your family immigrated over here to a country that was built by foundational Black Americans so that they can get and benefit the off the wealth and the resources generated from our free labor. That was the point. But I touched a nerve talking about your European background because you're clearly ashamed of it, which means you're not at liberty to point fingers at foundational Black Americans who are very proud of our lineage here on the land that we built and cultivated, sir.
Well, I mean that's great and all. I still don't get the relevancy to your argument. It seems like you're really reaching. You're really reaching.
I'm not reaching. This goes into what's owed
Okay, but
because you said
that's what
you
I don't
weren't
understand.
here and
What
all
did
of that
you
stuff.
do?
No, no, no,
What
no.
did?
No,
How many years
no,
were you
no, you
enslaved,
owe.
Tariq?
No, 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 because I'm tying it in. You owe because your broke family came over here from the slums of Europe, eating and benefiting off of our labor and off the resources that we built, and they enjoyed what foundational Black Americans built, and they were part of the Jim Crow era where we were being denied resources while they had an affirmative action program called white supremacy where they benefited off of our tax dollars and we were denied it. So you owe. That's what I'm saying. That's my whole point. I'm circling back to say that's how you owe.
Okay, so my family that emigrated to New York, they
Uh
that
huh.
didn't that own any slaves, never owned any slaves.
Don't
Eh,
matter
How much?
what they
Okay, wait. Okay,
own.
so that's another question.
Don't matter. I don't want to hear that they didn't own slaves. They came over here in a country that was built on slave labor and they had no problem eating off of that slave money. All right. That's why they came over here from the slums of Europe, sir. So I don't want to hear about it. I didn't I didn't put any red natives on a damn reservation, but my tax dollars still go to some of these Native American tribes. So we don't play that
Okay,
game.
yeah, so if you want to talk about reparations and such, how much
Uh-huh.
money do I owe you? How much do I have to give
20,
you?
20 trillion dollars. That's where we're gonna start.
Okay, is that a joke?
We're
Wait, hold on.
no, am I
I,
laughing?
I mean, I'm
Was it a
laughing. I don't
was
know
it
if you
a
are
joke?
or
Was
not,
it a
but
damn
that's
joke? Was it a joke when y'all were sending the Ukrainians money? Was that funny?
no. I think that's fucking bullshit. They shouldn't get a
All right.
dime.
Is it a joke? Is it a joke? You're sending these illegal immigrants over here. Y'all giving them credit cards and all types of money. Is that a joke?
Well, no, it pisses me off. Just like
Yeah, you
giving
damn
twenty
right it
trillion
is.
dollars to people
Nope.
that weren't victims of anything is a little.
You ain't complaining about them. Y'all
Dude,
giving illegal
check my
immigrants.
timeline.
Y'all,
That's all I do is bitch and moan about
man,
handing out free money to people that don't
you ain't over
deserve
in
it.
there. Y'all stay over here whining about what foundation of Black Americans ain't getting. We ain't even getting nothing, and you're complaining. Y'all have no problem with these illegals coming over here getting all of these resources who didn't earn
Do you
anything.
know how much of a
But y'all
net
have all
loss
this.
these cities
But
suffer
but,
by,
but
having to put a bunch of extra resources
y'all
into?
giving a lightweight pushback to it.
I don't know. I mean, have you looked
The
at
the pushback is real lightweight. The pushback is real lightweight. It all turns to what about black on black crime? Your whole argument was
I
the
feel like
whole what
that's a
about black on
problem,
black
bro. That
crime?
should be addressed. That really should be addressed. I
To
mean,
the prop.
and that doesn't benefit me as a white man. That's not for me. That's
So
for the black
why are you
community. It
worried
would
about
be a
black?
fantastic thing for
Why
you
are
guys
you
to get
worried?
that shit under control.
Why are you worried about black
Okay,
on
so
black
so, so
crime? If
okay,
you're
so you're
not
saying I
worried
should
about
just not.
if well, no, if you're not worried about giving us no damn resources, what you worried about black on black crime for? It don't affect you. It's just a deflection in order to justify demonizing and punishing black people. That's literally all you suspected white supremacists use that what about black on black crime for. You don't want to rectify it. It could have been fixed years ago. We in the black community have been trying to fix it. We get sabotaged by your community. You care
But
nothing
but you
about
won't
black on
even
black
admit
crime.
that it's a
You
problem.
you want black on black crime. You push the criminals out there. Your community pushed those criminals out there. You push the criminal class out there. Y'all let the criminal class run amok. You are the one who give them the drugs to push in the community, sir. Your community is responsible for all black on black crime. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, well, I would say that that's definitely part of the problem right there. Is now, so you guys bear no responsibility at all for it. It's my fault.
Because we can't, if we try to clean it up, we get sabotaged. So it's orchestrated because you guys want it to happen. Because if you have a criminal class, that will fuel the jail system, which is a plantation. That will fuel the militarized police system, which is a big old money making finesse. So you guys make money off of so called black criminality and promoting the image of black criminality because it's not as severe as you guys make it to be, but you have to fearmonger the public. There's no warfare going on. There's a couple of city blocks where there are knuckleheads over there that's being wound up by the white supremacists. There's no major warfare. We don't have organized crime syndicates in black society like your community, sir. You have organized crime syndicates that you do nothing about. You have organized pedophile syndicates that you do nothing about. You're not at liberty to point fingers at black people. Black people, um, we have a really low crime rate among black people as a whole. Only a very small percentage of black people engage in crime. But you white supremacists, you have a whole criminal disposition. You send money and protect your criminals like the Kyle Rittenhouses. You make heroes of your criminals.
Well,
You make
last I checked, he was acquitted of a crime
right,
because he was,
right, right, right,
defending himself against people that were trying to kill him in the
right,
street.
right,
That's
right, right. See, you make excuses for your criminals. You see?
I,
That's the point right there. You normalize your criminals and mainstream them and turn your criminals into heroes. We don't do that to a knucklehead in Chicago who goes out and shoots somebody. We don't give them GoFundMe money and parade them around talking about he was just defending themselves. We don't do that. You get the little criminal ass people like Rittenhouse who got illegal guns and did a premeditated killing, and then you turn around and make him into a hero because y'all got on this white supremacist code in the courtrooms. We don't have that, sir. This is how you normalize the criminality within white supremacist society. It's a sick thing, sir, and you're not at liberty to point fingers at any foundational black American, sir.
okay, so we do have to go back to this, and this is a stat here. I'm using stats. Okay, there's
Where's the stat
thirteen
from?
percent of the population. 13% of the population commits 52% of the crimes.
Yes.
Are any of those
No,
crimes?
they don't.
Are
No, they don't.
are
No, they
any?
don't. No, they don't.
Is
No, they don't.
any?
No, they don't. No, 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 no. You're not. You're
I'm not lying.
lying. We don't. No, you're lying. We don't commit 50% of the crime. We just get overly charged for everything. In your community, y'all commit crime all day, every day. You just don't get charged for them, sir. We don't commit no 50% of the crime. You guys get away with literal murder and don't get charged for it, sir. We get criminalized for everything we do. If we have a bag of weed, we get thrown in jail for 20 years. A white man has a bag of weed, hey, put that up and get out of here. You understand? You just don't get charged for the crimes that you do. You, the white supremacists go out here and they do vile rapes and murders. They get slaps on the wrist. They get released all the time. And again, Kyle Rittenhouse is another example. This man did a premeditated murder. And you're sitting up here talking about he defended himself. That's a criminal. But white supremacy has a whole thing about immunity from law. And then you want to bring up a stat talking about we commit 50% of the crime. That's horse crap. More things are criminalized for black people because we're black. Goes back to the Jim Crow. The crime stats for black people have always been high, going back to Jim Crow. Why? Because more things were illegal for a black person. If a black person drank from a water fountain, that was illegal. If a black person rode on the front of a bus, that was illegal. So, yeah, the crime stats are going to be higher. The common law of those crime stats are still here. So, things we do are just criminalized more. If we go to a club somewhere and we're wearing a t-shirt, that's considered a crime because we're considered trespassing because they have a no t-shirt policy, but all the white people can wear t-shirts. So the criminality thing is a white supremacist thing where they subjugate and project that criminality onto us and then come up with these bogus stats, but not putting everything in the right context, sir.
Okay, so how many generations more do we have to go before you stop telling every child, man, woman, and child that they're a victim? How many more generations do we have to go?
When you stop victimizing
No, I'm not
people,
the one
when are you going
victimizing
to stop
anybody. You're
victimizing?
telling everybody that they're a victim, and that is a problem in and of itself. When
Because
you're
you are
telling
acting
children,
as a
Tariq, when you're
victimizer.
telling
When
children
when is your
that they
community
can't
going
be
to stop
anything because the white
when is your community going to stop victimizing people based on race? Mr. Nick.
you got to
When is
mute
your
me. That's all.
community
But
Yeah, here. When is your community going to stop victimizing people based on race? In all areas of
you have
activity,
not
we're
provided even
victimized
a
by your
smidgen of evidence that
sir. That's just I'm white and I say so. I keep pointing out all areas of activity, your community victimizes black people. All activity. There are 9 areas of activity that people engage in: education, labor, sex, law, war, finance, religion, all areas of activity, your community victimizes black people without any exception, sir. Why do you have to victimize people based on race and use your militarized system to back you up?
this is such a ridiculous question. There were no specifics involved with that. It's like it's basically like, you're asking me something like, "Oh, well, why are schools racist?" And you're telling me, like, when are you going to stop being racist? But you're not going to give me any examples of any of this stuff. You're just going to
Yeah,
say that
I've
that
given
we are
I've
racist,
sat
and
here
when are
and
you going to
gave I
stop?
have
That's
given
it.
you examples. I have given you examples for the last 30 minutes, and you're just doing the I'm white and I say so denial game. All you're doing is just denying everything, which is a tactic of white supremacy. As a victim of white supremacy, I'm not at liberty to sit here and be in denial about it. And you know your community better than anybody. You know how your community victimizes black people. You know that, right?
No, I don't. No, I grew up in a household that taught me to respect everybody, and that's what I did. I mean, I grew up, and I look. You're a young guy, man. You're a young guy. Okay, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what kind of family you came from, but it seems like you've been fairly successful. Like I said, I don't know too much about your background, but you've been able to do well for yourself. How come you can do it for yourself, but other black people can't, based on what you're
Because
telling them? You're
black
telling them they're victims and they can't
because
do anything.
because black people, foundational black Americans are magical people. I have a God spirit called Mojara that many foundational black Americans have that makes us exceptional people. In the face of subjugation from your people, we can still rise up and be relatively successful, even under the thumb of this vile subjugation. That's how phenomenal me and other foundational Black Americans are. But unfortunately, many of us still get caught up with these white supremacists and their subjugation tactics. So, because I'm in a cool position, I'm not comfortable enough to say, hey, all my other black people out here who are still suffering, I can't let that happen and not say anything because I want to do the right thing. I'm all about justice and a God spirit of fairness and equality and equitable justice. So it's my duty as a spiritual person ingrained with the spirit of Mojara to make sure that everybody is good and speak out against injustice because that's what our greats did. That's what Martin Luther King did. That's what Ida B. Wells did. That's what Dr. Francis Cress Welsing did. So your community, they don't do that. Your community sits here and justifies vile, demonic, satanic ass white supremacy and racial subjugation. See, that's why the universe is punishing your community right now. And I'm talking about the white supremacist and suspected white supremacist community, sir. Because now we're going to get into a spiritual thing. See,
I mean, I feel like we just went way off track there. But whatever you say, I don't know what uh, man. I really want to know. And I've been trying to get at this the entire time. When you have
yes. What do you?
when you are telling children that, and you are preaching to them and you are instilling in them at a young, vulnerable age that they are victims and that they will never be successful because the white man is putting them down.
Who said that? Who
You
said that?
said that. You
That's a
said that the problem.
Now, this is why this is the problem that many people have with suspected white supremacists, the pathological lying. I ain't never said that you are never going to be successful as a child. We're going to have relative success. And when I say relative success, some financial gains here or there, I'm still under the thumb of white supremacy. Let's be very clear. Now, we can have relative success. That doesn't mean we're still not under the thumb of white supremacy. In Nazi Germany, you had Jewish people who were millionaires. And
Okay, but
some
you
of
didn't
those
answer
Jewish
my
millionaires,
question. I said
hold on,
the.
I'm answering it now. Hold on, no, I'm making a point here. I'm answering it now. You had Jewish millionaires who were successful and they were rounded up and put in gas chambers. They were still under the thumb of white supremacy. You see, I don't keep my eye off the ball. I'm not going to get too comfortable with a couple of dollars and forget where I'm under. I'm still under white supremacy. The biggest mistake a black person can make is that you get a couple of dollars and you think you ain't under white supremacy no more. Because the white supremacists love making examples out of successful, well to do black people. They're the main ones they'll make an example out of. So we ain't playing that game. So we'll get some financial success, but we never forget we're still under the rule of white supremacy, and I'm white and I say so. And our children need to know this. And let me tell you what I tell my children. I have a bunch of beautiful children, and I have black boys. And I tell my black boys, you're going to be successful in your careers, but you're under the system of white supremacy. When you walk out that door, boys, you are in danger. And you better know how to move and operate so that
That
you
is a
can come back home
terrible
to
thing
me.
to tell children. That is an
It ain't a
awful.
terrible thing to say. It's the truth. I tell my children, your ass is in danger if you come across a suspected race soldier. Don't you think that you can sit here and operate like your little white buddies at school? You see? Because my friends have little white friends and Asian friends. I let them know you can't get down like they get down.
Yeah, and
You're
this
going to get
is
treated
why
differently.
there is such a problem here. That is.
This is why we need to tell more black children this, so that we don't have a Tamir Rice situation, so we don't have a Trayvon Martin situation where your community sits here and kills black kids and then brag about it and then high five each other. That's the problem we have, sir. And I got black boys.
Okay. So you're saying that Tamir Rice was an example of. You keep saying my community, so we'll just whatever you're saying, and we're
Yes,
all high
the
fiving each
suspected
other and
white supremacist
celebrating
community.
because Tamir Rice. I don't even remember the exact situation, but at some point, you're using this example to say that white people were celebrating this.
They sat here and protected the race soldier who shot a child playing in a park.
Okay, all
and
right.
did and protected that man, and they still protect him to this day.
Okay, so
And,
regardless of
and
this,
you
regardless of the
absolutely, and
backstory
you
here, we're talking
absolutely,
about one example, and there's, I'm just going to say, black on white crime is a lot more violent than white on black crime in this sort of situation, and you know that. You know that. I know you're going to
and
deny the
and
stats,
you know,
but
and you know that white on black crime goes often unpunished, and they get rewarded to do it. And black on
by
black crime
who?
is never
Who is
rewarded.
rewarding them?
Zimmerman was rewarded for killing Trayvon Martin.
The dude had.
That dude, I can go all the way down the line. When your community, somebody, Darren Wilson, was rewarded for killing Mike Brown, Pantaleo was rewarded for killing Eric Garner. Just all I can just go down the line. Your community gets rewarded. Y'all kill a black person, and then all of a sudden there's a GoFundMe with $1 million in it waiting on you. What are you
Are you
talking about?
are
Black
you
on black
serious?
crime. We don't.
Are you? Do you really
I'm,
want to go into these GoFundMe numbers, bro? I mean,
yeah, I do.
you have seen so
Who
many
show me some
examples.
black on black? No, 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 no. Show me some black on black crime somebody's
Okay,
getting
well,
millions
here's
of
the
dollars in
problem.
gold.
That's exactly the problem. They don't want to talk about black on black crime. They want to ignore it and act like it's not actually an
Who?
issue.
Wait, who's getting? No, no, no. No, you're jumping all over the place. When white people from your community, the white supremacists, kill black people, there's GoFundMe supporting them from your community. Where are black people giving money to folks killing other black people? Where?
Man, you know what glitches out when you keep muting me like that? Come on, let's just
Go
have a
ahead.
let's just have a
Okay,
conversation.
show me where are black people raising millions of dollars to give to a black person for murdering somebody.
Where are okay? Yeah, I don't think you understand my point here. My point
Okay.
is,
No, no, no. You're not going to deflect. I done gave multiple examples of your community, the white
dude, you
supremacist
got to
community.
stop with the mute button if we're gonna have a.
No, 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 because you're not going to deflect. We're not going to do that on White Not Say So. You keep talking about, well, yeah, but what about black on black crime? No, black on black crime, we don't celebrate that. We look at that as a cancer. We don't want it. We don't reward nobody. We don't reward black people for shooting folks. You reward people in your community for going out here killing folks, especially when they kill a black person or kill a white person who's helping a black person, like Rittenhouse. Now tell
Okay,
me when black people raise millions of dollars for killing somebody. You're not
you
muted.
fucking muting me, dude. You got to stop with the mute button, or else I'm just not even gonna do this. I'm trying to have a
Calm
conversation with you,
down.
and you want to keep muting me and cutting me
Okay.
off because you don't like my answers to the
Calm
questions. I
down.
think you're having a tough time
We
here. I get it.
Okay. You're getting triggered. Take you a bite of some avocado wrap and calm your little ass down because you're turning red over there. I can see you turning red. Calm down. I asked you a question. Now, because you can't answer the question, don't get all hot and bothered and angry because I don't want you to go out there and get a gun and leave your trailer park and try to go do something to somebody. Calm down. Now, one more
So
time.
we're gonna go forward. So
I,
no, those
calm
comments
down.
weren't racist, were they, Terry? Those were.
No, I didn't say anything about race. What did
Oh,
I say about
yeah.
race?
Okay.
What did I say about race? I didn't say
Dude,
about race.
race is your entire sales point. That's where you make all
No,
your
it's not.
money. That's why
No, it's
you've
not.
made hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. You sit on here and tell people that they're victims and then you sell books to them. I mean,
Sir, I
you
sold
this is what you
relationship
do
books.
for a living, bro. You got to like
No,
this
it's
is
I'm a foundational black
what the fuck
American.
does that even
I got
mean?
stuff.
What is a foundational black I mean, it almost sounds like you're
It sounds like what?
you
No,
sound
what
like
do
a
you mean?
cult
What is
leader. That's exactly what you
a
sound like.
cult? I'm talking about a lineage. That's a lineage, sir. That means I'm a
Okay, so
non-immigrant.
what is it that you do for a living? If you're not just selling, if you're look, everything that I know about you and everything that everybody else seems to know about you, it's that you make all of your money by preaching that white people are bad and white people are racist and black people can't get anywhere and that you're
how?
some
Wait,
sort of
how did I make this
savior,
money?
which makes, no sense because if anything, you're just holding people back. I mean, let's be honest.
How am I holding
Because you're
somebody back?
telling children that they are victims and that the white man isn't going to let them,
Because
the
you're
white man isn't going to let them
victimizers.
get anywhere in life. So, of course, that
Because
is so demoralizing to a child, and you're going to instill that in.
white supremacy is demoralizing. We live in a demoralizing system of white supremacy. That's a horrible system to live under, where our children can get killed with impunity, where your community can go out here and harm us, and then it's celebrated. Is that a good system?
Okay, yeah, well, I mean, you're basically using some. I don't even know exactly where you're going with that because it seems like you're cherry picking
Sir,
weird.
I'm cherry picking. Sir, we have cases like Breonna Taylor, black people getting murdered in their sleep by your
Oh, that's
community,
a
and
fucking
nothing
lie,
happens.
dude. And you know that. She was
Uh-oh.
not murdered in her sleep. She was not laying in her bed. And then what are we going to go?
Yes,
Are we going
it
to go to
was.
hands up, don't shoot now, too? Do we want to talk about that one?
Wait, 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 wait. What was she doing? That girl was butt naked in
She
her
was
bed and
not
got
in her
killed. What
bed.
are you
She was
talking about?
not in her bed. That
Yes,
was
she
a
was.
total lie. She was in the crossfire. I'm not saying she didn't deserve to die. I didn't say that. But saying that she was shot and killed in her bed is a lie. You know it's a lie.
That's
You
not a
know
lie.
that hands up, don't shoot is also a lie. but I'm sure you're going to go with that one too.
Wait, wait,
Are you
wait,
going
wait,
to
wait, wait.
admit
How's
that the
that a
hands
lie?
up, don't shoot
How? No, no,
narrative is
no,
a
no,
lie?
no. How? No, 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 no. Because you're not about to do that. That girl was in her bed. Rayso just came in and blew her away,
Dude, that's a lie.
and
I'm sorry, it's a lie.
and and nothing happened to them, sir. So you think that woman
I
deserved to die, and
literally
they went to
just
the wrong
said she
house?
didn't deserve to die, but she also wasn't
All right.
sleeping
So
in her
why?
bed. She got
Okay.
caught in the
So,
crossfire.
sir,
That's what happened.
what
They didn't go and
crossfire? They
execute
went to the
her.
wrong.
I know. I
They went. What you mean they didn't execute her? They went to the wrong house and shot this woman dead, and nothing happened to the people. And that's a cool system to live under, where they can
nope,
just come in
didn't
our
say
houses
that.
and shoot us.
Although muting me makes it look like I didn't have a response to that.
And
But
and we're not supposed to be demoralized about race soldiers being able to walk in our
okay, well,
houses and just
you're
shoot us.
pushing a bunch of lies. That's the problem here. That's the problem.
Man, if you're trying to get into the semantics of it, the bottom line, we can. I don't even want to go
Okay,
back
but
and forth
we
about
don't need to
whether
lie
she's been
about
dead or
semantics.
not. Oh, no, 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 because now you want to get into the semantics of whether or not she was standing up or in the bed. The woman got killed unjustly in her own home. That's the point, sir. I don't want to sit here and argue
Okay,
semantics.
yeah, but I just I'd really appreciate to keep this conversation factual here and not go for proven lies that don't need to. When you start telling people that she was asleep in her
Okay.
bed and the police went in there and shot her in the head or something like that, I mean that is a
Did
total lie. It
Is
was
she
made up.
alive now? Is she
No,
alive?
she should be, and she should be alive. But
Uh, all right.
that's not my point here.
Did the people who killed her get punished?
Uh, I believe one of them did. I don't know the all the officers involved. I don't think all of them ended up getting charged with crimes, but I know that there is at least one.
The people who shot her didn't. The people who shot her didn't. Nothing happened to them. Nothing.
Okay, so is the argument here that this was a racially motivated shooting?
Yeah.
Okay, and what's your evidence of that?
The fact that they didn't get punished for doing it.
Okay, so they
When
went
you
and
kill
shot
when
her
you
and
kill
killed
people and
her.
don't get punished, it's racially motivated.
So
Because that seems to only happen to us, where we can get shot and we're innocent and nobody gets punished. There's like this immunity thing, but it doesn't happen in the reverse. When a black cop goes out here and kills a white person, they magically go to jail. They magically get charged. You don't get the slaps on the wrist with the black cop.
So, do we want to talk about the fact that Breonna Taylor's boyfriend shot at the police officers first, or should we leave that part out?
Um, no,
Okay,
no, no, no.
all right. So we won't
They
mention
came
that
in
part.
guns blazing. That's I'm white, not say so.
What do you mean, dude? That's a fact. Are you denying the fact that Kenneth Walker took a shot at the police officers before they fired back?
No, that's not true.
Okay,
And
so that
also, he
did
didn't know they were
happen.
cops. He didn't know. They didn't announce themselves. They didn't. That was a no knock one. They bust up in there. They didn't. He didn't know they were cops. He shot one in the leg, from what I understand. And shout out to Olu Stevens, the judge, who didn't let him get caught up out there because they were trying to charge him. They were trying to charge Kenneth and throw him under the bus for them ambushing him and his girlfriend.
Okay, okay. So, and you have neighbors that are testifying saying that, or reported that they heard the police announce themselves first. But, I guess those are semantics too. But you have to understand the point here. Just because there was, a shooting that, where you have police firing back, that doesn't mean that this was a race, that these cops went there to execute black people. That's what you're saying. That's what you're telling people.
Yeah, most likely, yeah, because it keeps happening over and over again. And in law enforcement, it's flooded with white supremacists, according to the FBI. You like your FBI stats? The FBI also said that the law enforcement agencies all around the country are flooded with white supremacists. This is the FBI talking, not me.
Yeah, and I believe that either one or two of the police officers were charged with wanton endangerment for shooting back, which is fair. That's good. They should be charged with that. Because they were risking
But
a department
none of them were
clean. So
charged for killing Breonna Taylor. That's the meat and potatoes of it. They weren't charged for killing. One cop was charged for shooting in one of the neighbors' apartments. That's what they got charged for. They got charged with one of the bullets going into a neighbor's apartment. So it had nothing to do with Breonna Taylor. They're protecting the killers of Breonna Taylor, which they always protect the killers of black people. The person who killed Tamir Rice, they're protecting him. The person who killed Trayvon Martin, they protected Zimmerman. Daniel Pantaleo, or whatever, Eric Pantaleo, who killed Eric Garner, they're protecting that guy. So they protect these people who kill black folks all the time, sir. That's called white supremacy.
Yeah, but when the narrative is set based around a bunch of lies, such as who was it? And Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. I'm doing this off of memory here. Okay, I don't have anything in front of me.
Uh huh.
Where you had Al Sharpton come out, one of the greatest race baiters of our time, comes out and tells everybody that Michael Brown was standing there with his hands up and was shot in the back. When none of that was true, it's not true. He
It,
knows it's not true. That was a total lie to attempt to start a
it,
race war. That's the only thing that I can kind of come up with.
the race war. Okay, Mike Brown did not do all of that shit where they lied and said he punched Darren Wilson. That's a complete lie. These white supremacists were talking about Darren Wilson got beat up, and then there was pictures of Darren Wilson didn't have a scratch on him. Mike Brown was surrendering. He got killed in cold blood. They had jurors on the grand jury who were white supremacists themselves, who were lying about knowing some of the people in that community and going over there. They were lying up and down. They were getting on the white supremacist code out there majorly. The white supremacists lied left and right about that case. And then they started low key killing all of the black activists in that area. Black activists started mysteriously dying left and right. A good partner of mine, Brother Darren Seals, got killed. Very good brother, by some suspected race soldiers. There's foul play in his murder. So it was a funny style thing happening out there in Ferguson. And that was a race war on behalf of the white supremacists waging race war on black people out there, sir.
Okay, so are you denying the fact that Michael Brown was charging at the officer at the time when he discharged the weapon? Okay, well, actually, okay, I'm going to go back. I want to ask you that very specifically. Did Michael Brown
No, no,
have
what
his
I,
hands up? Was he shot in the back? Yes or no?
Mike was shot in the front and I think he was shot in the back. That man was shot multiple times.
Did he
That man was shot all over his body.
did he have his hands up?
He did have his hands up because I think he got shot under his on the side where his hands were possibly up the way he was shot. I saw, and this was years ago, and I was very active in those protests and things out there. So his hands were up. Mike Brown's, he was surrendering. He wasn't fighting that cop. His hands were up.
Okay, so the Obama Department of Justice released their report.
Don't you start with that.
Barack Obama.
Don't start with that. Y'all love to start quoting Obama. Y'all hated Obama. Y'all hate Obama until his bullshit ass Department of Justice sat up here and said, hey, there's nothing to see here. And Obama wasn't a friend of foundational black Americans. He wasn't a friend of us. Obama didn't punish any race soldiers. So Obama is a bad example. He was a tokenized black person who the white supremacists wouldn't allow him to do anything about these injustices. So don't even use Obama and that puppet regime he had. All right, let's not play that
Okay,
game
so we're just
because
going to
that's
go off
bad.
of speculation instead, I guess. But
All right,
I
because
will go ahead and go
okay,
through what the
okay,
Department of Justice and the police department said.
no, you're
40
not
witness
because Obama.
testimonies.
No. We're not going to do that whole Obama. Where Obama said Obama was a tool and a puppet. If Obama punished Darren Wilson, you white supremacists would have raided the White House. When Obama said, if I had a son, it'll look like Trayvon Martin, the white supremacists all got on code with that. Y'all majorly got on code. That's one of the reasons why you got on code to protect George Zimmerman. All right. Obama was getting sunned by the white supremacists. When a race soldier went up in Skip Gates' home and harassed Skip Gates up there in where does Skip Gates live? Massachusetts somewhere, and arrested Skip Gates and ruffled him up. Obama sat up here and had to bow down and had to have a beer summit with a damn a suspected white supremacist police officer. They made him bow down to a lowly ass cop. So don't quote anything about Obama and what they said. It's all in bad faith. Obama was getting sunned by the white supremacists.
Okay, so we'll ignore the part where the 40 witnesses said that that Michael Brown did not have his hands up. We'll
No,
ignore that
and one of
part.
and one of the witnesses
40
was a white
witnesses, 40
supremacist.
witness testimonies
Uh,
under oath said that Michael
and
Brown did not have his hands up as the race
that
baiters were
and
saying.
and that's a lie.
So all
And
40 of
there
them
magically
colluded to
40
lie under oath,
there's
under
magically 40
penalty of
people.
perjury.
There
They
there
all
weren't
lied
there
under
weren't
oath.
40 people. There weren't 40 people out there, and some of the people, they were proven liars. And if there's some proven liars, all of it is garbage. All of it is garbage because a lot of the people out there said he had his hands up. A lot of the people out there said that he was surrendering. And these anonymous 40 witnesses that were on the grand jury, some of these people were proven liars. One of the women was a proven liar and a white supremacist.
All right, so where do you want to go from here?
So what do
It's at
you
least been
think
an
about?
interesting conversation. We definitely have a little disagreements, but it's
It's an interesting
sure.
conversation. It's very interesting. But it's a lot of I'm wet, and I say so, but we're used to
Dude,
that.
come on. See, that's
Whatever.
the kind of that the victim shit is pathetic. It's pathetic.
Because you're a
I'm not
victimizer. You're
victimizing
a
you. You're
victim
the host. You're the guy with the mute button that keeps shutting me down. How am I the victimizer here? I mean, come on.
because you're part of the
I'm part of the
victimizer
white.
class.
Yeah, I'm white. That's what you're telling me.
Sir, you're part of the victimizer class. Look, you're talking about I got the mute button, but hell, look whose platform I'm on. This is X. Who owns
An
X? And
African
look
guy
at his
owns X, actually.
an Afrikaner who has the same views as you and your alt right buddies, sir. So that shows that I'm under white supremacy still.
Okay, okay. So let's get into a little bit. Let's hear about that. All right. So Elon Musk is now a racist, but how do you get to that conclusion?
I don't know if he's a racist. We suspect he could be a white supremacist based on a lot of the stuff that he said and some of the lawsuits from his companies where black people are saying, hey, there's some racism going here and there's millions of dollars of judgments going out to black people at Elon's companies out here. But I don't know. I suspect that he could be.
Okay, so another question I think would be good to ask you. So, what about the Africans that actually sold the slaves? Do they owe reparations too? How does that work?
Oh, well, that's a major deflection. All right, first, I want to get to the people who had the slave ships, white supremacists, the people who had the insurance companies, the white supremacists, the people who had the market and had the plantations ready, the white supremacists. We got to get on them first before we get on some African person who got like a couple of beads. No, I want to deal with the U.S. government first. Once we deal with the U.S. government, then I'll go find some tribe somewhere who might have made a deal 500-600 years ago. We'll deal with them a little bit later. We got to deal with the white supremacists in the U.S. government first, and then I will be glad to find out what Igbo tribe or whoever did whatever. Because another thing too, a lot of us weren't just brought over here from Africa. There were already black Aboriginal people here who were enslaved. So that's another thing. This is our land for real, for real.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna just move past that point there because we're not gonna get together on that point. But back to the reparations thing. $20 trillion. How the hell do you get to that figure? You got to keep in mind the U.S. national debt forever. All of the debt that we've accrued since we were a country is 36 trillion, which is a fuck ton of money. But you're saying another 20 trillion needs to be doled out to people that are that
Now,
aren't slaves, weren't slaves, grew up like.
but we're the descendants of slaves because you got people who are getting money from the U.S. government who weren't in a concentration camp, but they're the descendants of the people who were in the concentration camps, and they're getting money. You have people who were not on the Trail of Tears, but they're getting money because they're the descendants of the people who were on the Trail of Tears. Same thing with us. We're not going to play the racialized game where we ain't supposed to get nothing just because we're black. No, we're not. We're
Nobody
not
said that.
settling for that.
Nobody said that. You said that. I didn't say that.
But that's the implication. We're not
But
supposed to get
that's
anything
how
because
you
we're
just
black.
took it. That you convinced
No,
yourself that
because
I said you.
no. That's what you said. You said, well, y'all weren't slaves. Well, other people weren't um, hurt directly, but the trickle down happened to them and they got the secondary benefits and gains and they were the descendants of the people. So the same thing is going to apply to us, sir. You understand? That's how that works. And the 20 trillion, yes, we got it. The US government has that. They got money for the Ukraine, they got money for all these other groups, so they should have money for us. And the great thing is, the reparations is going to boost the economy. It's not like the money is going to be thrown away. That money, we as Foundation of Black Americans, we're going to bounce that money within the society and we're going to flip it. And the money is going to be compounded. So that's going to make this economy thrive if they give Foundation of Black Americans the reparations owed. Everybody's going to be living fly because the economy is going to be thriving. We're going to do phenomenal things with that money. We're going to have all types of businesses going on. We're going to take care of that black on black crime that you keep talking about. We can take care of a lot of that with our businesses and we can have the resources for our community centers. Black men and black women can get married more with extra money coming in. So we'll fix a lot of things that's hurting the community when we get the justice claim that we deserve, sir.
Okay, can I ask you something? Do you know how many millions are in 20 trillion?
Yeah, so 20 trillion is a lot of money.
Well, but how many millions is it?
Dude, I don't know. I don't have a calculator in front of me. What's the point? I'm not a mathematician now.
Okay. All right. Well, you've got 40.1 million black people in the United States. You want 20 trillion dollars. Okay. That
Hmm.
equates to $500,000 per uh hold on one second. You have, sorry, in 20 trillion, that's 20 million dollars. Okay? That's a fuck ton of money for every man, woman, and child, people that weren't victims of slavery to begin with. You're
Well, guess what?
saying,
Guess what?
you're
Guess what?
telling me
Guess what?
that the US government has unlimited money. Have you seen inflation right now? Have you seen the inflation rate? Have you seen what groceries cost? Maybe you've just made so much money that you don't pay attention to any of this stuff. But us regular Americans out here don't have the money for groceries. We don't have the the money to buy new cars anymore. Everything is so expensive. Clothes are expensive. It's expensive to travel. Look at gas prices. You're going to throw another 20 million dollars into the economy?
Sir, there's money all over the place. There's communities, cities being built, stadiums being built, immigrant groups being funded. These immigrant groups are coming over here getting all types of money. They're being held up at nice hotels. They're getting job training. There's money for that. There's money to feed these people left and right. I don't want to hear that we ain't got it bullshit. You got it for everybody else. You're going to have it for us. Miss me with that we ain't got it stuff. Other groups are coming over here living lovely. They're coming over here getting blank checks, and nobody has a
Hey,
problem with it.
dude, I have a huge problem with it, and I guarantee you, a lot of people in this
It
audience
ain't
have the same problem. I mean, nobody wants to keep giving out free money that the U.S. government doesn't have. The amount we're getting close to paying $1 trillion per year just in interest. We can't afford the handouts anymore. We can't do it.
well,
Don't have the money.
they're doing it for other groups. They're doing it for other groups, and they need to give it to us
No, nobody
because
should be
we
getting
deserve
this
it.
shit. Okay, we got to put
Oh,
the country back together here. We got to get on a financial track where we're not, deficit spending to the
well,
point where
we'll do
in the
that, but
past
we'll get
three
on that.
days we've added
Well,
a hundred.
okay, do all that when we get our money. All right. Because ain't nobody getting on no financial track with all of these other groups getting all this money, getting my tax dollars. So when we get our reparations checks, when we get those $500,000 each or whatever, Then y'all can kind of come up with a little plan to get whatever on track. We're going to be stimulating the economy with our reparations checks. All right.
But the reason everything is so expensive.
Go ahead. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. I don't have you muted, Nick.
Yes, you did. But the reason that everything is so expensive right now is because the economy was overheated. It was overstimulated by the Biden
I don't hear about.
administration pouring, you know,
Let me stop you because I don't want to hear about that overheated stuff. Because when it's time to punish black people, all of a sudden y'all have a blank check. When y'all want to give billions of dollars to police agencies all around the country for their militarized vehicles to subjugate us, oh, you got a bunch of money. When y'all want to have money for all of these prisons that y'all want to house us in, the billions of dollars just magically pop up. When y'all want to fund these little militia groups and all of these other people, the money pops up all over the place. So when it's time to punish us, the money is everywhere. But when it's time to give us the justice claim we deserve, all of a sudden, ah, man, I ain't got it. No, no,
no,
no.
don't
We
have it in
got it.
general. However, there are things that have to be funded, such as police forces around the United. Look at the cities that have defunded the police. Look how that's gone for them. Look at the crime rate. It's skyrocketed. It's through the fucking roof. Okay,
That's
it's
a lie.
killing
It's not
people.
because of the. It's not because of the police. And what the police have been defunded. These cops ain't been defunded. They have bigger budgets than ever. None of these people have been defunded. They have an unlimited budget that's unneeded. That's a huge finesse. They use these scare tactics, which is black on black crime. And you know what that's a code for? The blacks are going to get you. That's what that's a code for. So give us money so we can stop the blacks from coming to get you. And that's a big ass finesse. The police agencies don't fight crime. If it's all about defunding the police and they got all of this money, how come they're not stopping all of the damn crime if that's the case? How come crime is skyrocketing and they have all of these billions of dollars in budgets? And crime is still as crazy as you say it is. That's because it's a finesse. They're supposed to have crime to scare the white supremacists into funding them. This whole black boogeyman thing, that's the big money maker. That's how the white supremacists, your community, that's where you make your money. Because you project onto me. I'm a very talented foundational black American. I make money all types of ways. Your community makes money with black boogeyman fear mongering. And that's what you've always done. Everything is all about what we're doing and how you can scare other white people into giving you some money.
You
That's literally all y'all do.
because you keep saying y'all, like as in if it's me, as if
Y'all,
as if I'm doing
every
it.
every year it's a new tactic of some codified anti-black fear mongering. If it's not affirmative action, then it's black on black crime. Then it's CRT. Then it's DEI. It's something else every year that's some little code word for black people, meaning, oh, black people are going to get you with the DEI, so we got to stop DEI. Ooh, black folks are going to get you with the woke. We got to stop woke. Every year, it's a new epithet for us. We are rent free in your brain. So, since we're rent free, let's rent free that money that's owed to us, sir. How
Okay,
about
well,
that?
if you want to talk about, because I do want to talk about DEI. I'm glad you brought that up. I was really looking forward to that conversation. But what I will say here is there are at least 22 cities that have defunded the police to the tune of $1.73 billion over the past 4 years, and New York City cut 1 billion. New York City is also the one that just had to, or New York State had to deploy the National Guard today to New York City because crime is so out of hand at this point. That I mean,
When New York had that extra billion, what were they doing about crime? They weren't doing a damn thing about crime when they had the extra billion. Chicago wasn't doing nothing about the crime when they had all the billions. So let's stop with that. That's a whole finesse. They finesse the game. They make all this money. Police, they're not even obligated to stop crime. They don't stop crime. They just sit there and keep black people contained for the amusement and satisfaction of white supremacist society. That's all they do. And that's the only reason white supremacist society like the police. They don't really like them.
Okay. Well, and I've enjoyed this conversation, but I'm gonna try to like limit myself to like 5 more minutes here because it's.
All right, let me. You know what? Let me. I got to get some more
Yeah,
people.
yeah, no, no, no.
This.
You definitely, you definitely should. But let me ask you real quick about DEI. Okay, if we're going to talk about DEI and diversity hires and stuff, should we not pay attention to merit before we pay attention to race? Yes or no?
Oh my goodness. Man, we should absolutely look at merit. And the white supremacists are the main people who get away with not having any merits, and they get in because of race and nepotism.
Oh, okay. So you're you're telling me? Hey, we'll use a
The
recent
white
example.
supremacists are the kings and queens of nepotism. Zero merit. Y'all get in places where you ain't shouldn't be nowhere near, and you get in based on race. That's what white supremacy is. It's meritless, racially based preferences. And you guys are the kings and queens of that. And then project it onto black people. You pretend that a black person working somewhere got in somehow because of some kind of weird little program, which is the biggest crock of crap ever. Y'all wouldn't allow a black person who's unqualified to get in a certain position. If a black person is at a job or at an institution, that black person is usually the most qualified person there. That black person probably had to go through all types of rigorous training and tests in order to get in the door. You wouldn't allow an unqualified black person to be anywhere in the perimeter of any institution. We have to be 10 times better than everybody else in there in order to get our foot in the door. And then we still get the man, was it a DEI that got you in here? That's a projection, sir. And that's nothing but another epithet towards black people to pretend we're getting something that we don't deserve. It's all an epithet. But anyway, man, thank you so much. Let me get some more people in here. Okay. Lord, 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 Lord. My goodness. We got 1,500 people in here in the middle of the night. Ain't that amazing?
From the culture of the American South, where roots hold stories, comes a natural deodorant inspired by generations of wisdom. Introducing Rootwork, the all-natural foundational Black American-based deodorant infused with the magic of High John the Conqueror root. Our unique blend enriched with this legendary root offers 24-hour protection, rooted in the power of nature. Embrace this deodorant that celebrates culture, history, and your well-being. Unlock the magic of Rootwork today. Experience the pure essence of nature. Visit rootworkstyle.com and make the switch to a healthier, cultural choice.